All right, we got big news today that's just released for Palantir, and I do have a few thoughts myself on it as well. We get our first press release on their investor relations website for 2025. They have just announced their date for Q4 2024 earnings, which will also be for full year 2024. So note, these will cover the results up until the end of December 31st, 2024, and it will be released on a Monday after market close, February 3. And that's with their usual webcast call to cover it at 3 p.m. Mountain Time or 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, they also provide their submission section for the questions here. Nothing really to cover yet. I'll let this marinate a bit here considering the top voted questions as of this recording has like 5 votes. But regardless, as we get closer to earnings, we can get a pulse check on what retail's at least thinking about. Crossing my fingers just a bit here that dividends will at least not be a top voted question, but let me know down in the comments if you think that will still happen regardless. But obviously my faith is limited and it's just for laughs anyways, so we'll know here as we get closer what's ramping up and what's of interest. Now, my take on Q4 2024 earnings is that we want to see 30% or more top line growth for the quarterly growth rate. They set the bar last quarter from Q3's results, and we know over the last quarter how the market and price action on the stock has reflected on this piece of news. Now, obviously, with a pullback from all-time highs as of recent from the $80 range back to the mid-60s as of this video is showing, it's always back to the same questions of what are they worth and if the valuation makes sense. We already know there's a lot priced in if you go purely on the numbers alone, and now it's up to Palantir to continue to prove they can meet these expectations. Now, how they do that, we may even be pleasantly surprised, but also the market sentiment too around their name, even where we are at now at over $60, means there are qualitative factors that are obvious, and the business, first of all, with the new administration coming in, some see signs that this will be great for their government business, even if there are some spending cuts coming, and there can be the efficiency play as well around Palantir being that tool to get these costs down, but also the military continuing to double down on Palantir, and we also see this as a lumpy business, and Alex Karp pointing this out in the past, especially during those down years. But things seem to have gotten pretty positive the past quarter, as well as just the general news of new deals and contracts extensions. And this is all while commercial is still happening, chugging along and growing faster and faster. We get big corporate names talking about their work with Palantir, the things that they've done and how they've helped, and it seems they are just everywhere able to make an impact and bring value across all industries that they're touching. So there's a lot of Palantir expectations not even baked into the numbers they release from earnings, but from the general news that we hear from all around, especially with new deals. But on the flip side too, when there is a narrative play where the numbers need to catch up or prove it, the biggest factor is that there's going to be volatility anyways. A change in expectations in the positive or negative direction means that the multiples that are being paid for by the market isn't guaranteed to stay. So regardless of how earnings come up, we just know all eyes will be on Palantir to deliver that. Now, granted, that's also talking from a short-term perspective. If you're just holding a company for 10 years, not even looking at the daily news, Q4 2024 is important, I guess, but also isn't at the same time if nothing has changed drastically fundamentally with their business. Now, honestly, this has been developing over multiple quarters that we've seen with AIP platform just continue to catch on, as well as the big recent push in the stock, and that can be argued it's just a recognition of the story of Palantir just more currently, and a lot of folks just like what they are seeing right now as they learn more about the company and are willing to enter at a premium, believing this will continue to compound on itself. So I'm curious to know, what do you expect for earnings? The stock will be the stock, but I'm honestly more personally interested in the fundamentals of their business and how they're doing and the health of it. Will the trend continue towards growth accelerating? Will we take a pause? Or maybe something unexpectedly negative pops up? Who knows? But let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video.